In this video, we'll talk about the bean sausage ingredient in Pokemon Sleep and cover every single Pokemon that has this ingredient as an option, and then narrow down which Pokemon are the best as the ingredient specialist for this ingredient. Overall, the best Pokemon for this ingredient is likely going to be the Charizard. If I'm not mistaken, as we'll go through each of these Pokemon, then I think the Charizard is the only one with the mono sausage. Overall, I'm not a big fan of this ingredient. At least for now, it doesn't really show up in a lot of ingredients, or in dishes rather. And the overall bean sausage does not have a strong value. It's right above 100, and that is not too good. One thing that does make up for it though is how good Charizard is as a Pokemon in general. You see that it's got the frequency of 40 minutes, that is quite fast. It evolves twice, so it has decent inventory, and it has a decent ingredient rate. Overall, the potential here for a double ginger could be better in certain scenarios. It very much depends on your collection. And an honorable mention here, also on the screen, is the Walrein, which is a berry specialist, because this bean drop here is pretty big for a berry focused Pokemon, and the ingredient rate here is 20%. So even if you try to squeeze the ingredient rate down as much as possible with that nature, you're not going to be quite successful. So if you do find a Walrein as a bonus here with a double sausage, then if you even run 2 Walrein, you're going to get a decent chunk of these. So it very much depends on your need. Overall, not too fan of the Charizard. I would probably put it in A tier, and it would stay there just because it has that potential for triple sausage, and it does that job really well. And there are just a lot of things to consider with this ingredient. It is to be found on a lot of Pokemon, even with the ingredient specialty. So we can kind of rapid fire the ingredient specialist this time around. We have the Beware. Oh man, is it a letdown if you find the sausage on the Beware. So for the most part, this is a troll ingredient and you get upset when you find it. Same with the Toxicroak. You want the triple oil on the Toxicroak, so when you find the bean, you can punch the desk. And then we have the Tyranitar. The Tyranitar too, it's a big letdown when you find that sausage, just because beans and ginger is such a good combo for the cooking. A lot of the same dishes use those ingredients. Then we have the Pinsir. This may be the most frustrating of all, because Pinsir has the apple honey combo, where those pair really well in dessert week, and bean sausage is not. And bean sausage is also a low value filler ingredient, so it's just going to clog up the inventory and make you upset. So don't find a Pinsir with a sausage. And do we have another Pokemon? Yes, we have Blastoise. Another Pokemon, do you see the sausage? You can punch the table and be upset about it because it's just not a good drop. This is mostly a balancing act in the game, I suspect, because the milk and cacao here are really strong, especially with this high ingredient rate. And so if we compare the Blastoise and the Charizard, I think overall they did Charizard a little bit dirty in the game. And then we have Venusaur just to see all the base Pokemon here. The Charizard is a little bit faster, so that does make up for it with the lower ingredient rate, but overall, it's a decent Pokemon at best. Because of the speed and because of the somewhat mid ingredient rate, you definitely do want the ingredient finder M on the Charizard. Bean sausage being a decent value at that 100, it's not like honey or apples or anything like that. You don't have to worry too much about the inventory either with the 5 and the 7s here. So upon 2 evolutions, you'll have 29 in inventory. That's pretty strong. And so overall, maybe what you are looking for in the Charizard could potentially be the berry finding because of that speed combo. And then you look for the ingredient finder as well, and maybe some inventory. This could be a decent Charizard overall. But for the most part, you're looking for the ingredient finder, you're looking for the speed, and then maybe another ingredient finder and another speed, and then maybe some late game inventory potentially. Something like this could be the dream Charizard if you manage to find the triple sausage. The Lepa Berry is going to be favored at Taupe Hollow, so if you get a week that is not Dessert Week, then the Charizard is going to be quite strong there. So overall, I would say try to look for the mono beans. If you happen to find double ginger, I wouldn't be too upset about it, but for the most part, it's the main bean Pokemon. And then in the same way that you had the number of ingredient Pokemon, there are so many skill specialists that also have the bean sausage as an option. So this is going to be quite a lengthy rapid fire because I don't think there's too much nuance here to the Charizard. You look for the beans, some ingredient finding up, maybe some inventory, maybe the BFS, and you call it a day. The ingredient magnet here is not going to matter much because of the low skill rate, so don't care too much about the skill level up M. In my opinion, it's just clogging up the sub-skills. Don't look for the skill trigger M. Ingredient finding, helping speed, ingredient finding, helping speed, maybe some inventory, and a nature where the ingredient finding is at the very least not down. Okay, rapid fire. We have the... Wait, I clicked on the wrong screen. That's so funny. We have the Raticate, which is a berry specialist. We have the Arbok, which is another berry specialist. Persian, bottom of the barrel, F tier, don't use it. Got the Golduck. Golduck has a pretty decent ingredient list overall, so if you find the sausage here, you are going to be upset about it. Triple cacao, pretty nice. Double apple, super nice. Look at the drop here, 4 and 6. That's pretty decent, even at the 14% ingredient rate here. Then we have the Primeape. And the Arcanine. We can see that the Primeape actually has the potential for a triple sausage, which is decent. Maybe you want the triple herb here, but for the most part, you are looking for the skills on the Arcanine, and definitely the berries on the Primeape. It stacks well at Lapis Lakeside. Then we have the Dodrio and the Steelix. Honorable mentions, I guess, to an extent, but you don't really want to look for any of these for their ingredients. It's just a potential. And for the most part, the bean sausage is simply going to be in the way of something else. On the evolutions, they will all have this ingredient list. And the beans is going to be in the way because both the milk and the cacao is going to be a favored ingredient set for the dessert week, which combo nicely. Then we have Pinsir. Pinsir is another dessert week Pokemon, and you are going to be upset by seeing that sausage just because apples and honey combo well. Feraligatr is an interesting one to an extent that can support the triple sausage there because if I'm not mistaken, the pure oil is lower value too. Or is it high? No, the pure oil for sure is the better value, especially considering the second slot here where it's just overall better. We can see here on the ingredients that bean sausage 103, pure oil a lot higher. So that's a point to make there. We have the Heracross. Heracross in my book, F tier, doesn't work, bad Pokemon, don't use it. Raikou has the potential for triple beans, or the bean sausage rather. And then we talked a little bit about Walrein. That one's pretty good actually because of the high drop. And yeah, we covered Toxicroak, and at that point, we have reached the end here. The Beware, don't go for the beans, go for the triple corn and be happy with that. Even the eggs here is in the way. You just want the corn all the way on the Beware. So overall, bean sausage, not a particularly interesting ingredient. And for the most part, you're just gonna do a very one-dimensional strategy with the Charizard. So hope you enjoyed this video covering the bean sausage, and we are getting ready to cover some dishes in Pokemon Sleep, because now this concludes the ingredient deep dive series. 18 videos in total, a lot, 16 actually, a lot of work, and yeah, hope overall watching through these that you've had a good experience, have learned some things, and our Pokemon Sleep coverage continues on.